disabled on. My mine's muted.
Actually, it sounds like... Okay, yeah, we're going through now. There we go. You see the little level thing there?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, now you talk as well and see if they can hear you.
Yeah, I think they can hear me. Well,
yeah,
I can hear
okay,
myself
we're perfect.
On the stream.
Wow, automatic solution. I need to buy one of these nifty.
Yeah.
You can hear us both. Epic win.
Sounds
Victory.
great.
Wow, this is actually working for once. I'm actually going to live stream an event where we didn't have problems with the stream. Problems with everything else, but, you know, not the stream. It's not my fault.
Yeah, man.
That
I'm
makes
excited.
me happy.
What's up, man? Look at this.
You know how they're going to pump us audio to them?
I'm not really sure.
Are they even going to bother?
This is everything I dreamed this would be, man.
I think one guy's trying to figure it out.
Do you want to play a game in the meantime while they're...
Want to play?
Go for it.
All right, sure.
And I'll talk at you.
You can like laugh. You can just comment over what I'm playing. I'll just ladder.
How strong is tech now?
I think you should cheese.
Cheese. All right. Like ridiculous cheese.
Like terrible cheese. Like you should pro brush cheese.
All right.
No, I need someone to stand at the door.
Keep the viewers entertained.
Oh,
and if someone could give it to Reddit on the live stream, I forgot about that. Because they're going to want this link. And tell them I sent you.
They're starting right now.
Oh god.
No, this is just random. No, this is on live stream, but yes, we're just goofing around. Go, send them.
All right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Do it.
And it's a 4-player map. I don't even know where they are.
Instant victory, I'm telling you. It's
Guy
a
would be
win no
like,
matter what happens. Even if you lose. Even if you lose, this is still epic win.
Oh my god.
Gotta live a little. Oh, we're gonna get lucky. I can feel it.
Oh,
Just kidding. Go cross position.
It's alright. It's okay.
If we scout him last, it could be disastrous. Cross position makes it super hard.
Sorry, man. I'm all in.
What? This is perfectly, this is totally reliable build. You can execute this all the time. Strategery. If you know you have better micro than your opponent, I mean, why not? Got him. He's done. Game. You got him. Oh, he's trying to 12 pull too. This is perfect. Get him, get him. Oh, you're in the corner. Back out. Recharge those shields a bit. You got 3-on-1 up there. That's a good situation. Yeah, get him.
Alright, let's go, let's go.
He's like, free win, I'll take it. He's weak down there, yeah. Oh, come on, get that kill. Yeah!
Oh, dang it.
It's worth it. He thinks he's winning, but you've just got him overconfident is all. Go forth. He's lucky you had cross positions. Okay, now GG.
Huh? Alright, we're ready to go.
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Should we turn off our stream, or should we?
What's going on? Yeah, we're ready to. We're streaming currently, if that makes any sense.
Should we turn the background stream?
Double check and make sure that we've got audio actually.
Sorry, what?
Horrible vid quality. Yeah, I'm not sure we can do about the vid quality, unfortunately. Okay, got audio. Nice.
Okay.
And man. Yeah, we're ready to go. Oh, he's messaging you, bottom left. Tell him we're live streaming. Give him the link. All the time. Tell him it works all the time. Like 50-50 shot. He's lucky he got cross position. I don't know how you guys are piping this through. This is on live stream. Okay. How are they going to get the audio, though?
Couldn't they just do the live?
Because
stream
what you could
website?
do is you could take the live stream, put it up here off another computer, and then you have audio and everything already. That would probably be the easiest. I like how he's talking seriously. 12 versus Terran, Zerg is impossible. He did the math. It's a good response. It's good DPS for hell. I like that. Pro trolling. Let's see if we can actually get him on the stream. What? I thought we need a third person who's ref to add us both in, I would assume. If that makes any sense. Or have one of them create and invite one of us. Do you have both of them on?
I have both of them on the list.
Do you know the map list?
I don't know what map they chose though. Is it like they flip a coin and whatnot?
If you can worker rush your way into Diamond.
Oh my god.
Oh
or
yeah.
Masters.
Seriously. Metalopolis. Go ahead. So go ahead and create metal and everything, I guess, and we're good.
What was it? What was the question? No, sorry.
Well, if you can pipe out another computer, you can just go to the live stream of it.
Here.
Oh, it's moving the monitor over for me, guys.
Yeah.
It's like we're sharing.
Getting chummy. You don't? Well, we can hear it on our stream because we have the stream open right now.
People are saying that they can hear it on the stream. People are saying that they can actually hear it. In fact, let's all tab and make sure that people still can.
Let's go! Let's go! Winners final!
Waves.
All right.
Make an announcement. Winners finals. Winners finals. Winners finals.
Winners finals. Yeah, this is the winners finals.
All right.
They can hear.
As you can see on the screen,
Should we keep the stream open? Right
Yeah.
now? Okay.
Diggity's channel up,
This is the
and
background.
winners finals. Give it up for Polar and Shui. Woo! All right, you guys ready for this? Okay, we're gonna hand it over to Diggity and Dan.
Can they actually hear the audio up off through here, or are we going to be doing like a mic on the side? Oh, wow. So I guess... Okay. I guess I can...
I mean, I'm not taking care of any of the tech, so.
We're going to do it super ghetto style. So I've got Frodan. Frodan alongside, and what I'm going to be doing is while he is obsing, I'm going to be shoving the mic in his face, which is not going to be distracting in the slightest for him, and it's going to be super easy for him to cast doing that. He's just so pro like that. So getting it going, we're going to have Polar versus Shui on Metalopolis. A little bit more of a macro-oriented map, see if the players are in fact ready. Go to busy because we don't need people going, hey, is this live streaming? Right there. Go ahead and ask them if they're ready.
Can I make one more announcement?
Yeah, please do.
All right, to my right here, that Indian man over there, he's actually like one of the creators of Winter Game Fest. So give it up for Amrit Serene. He's the first person to bring it into Price Center and bring corporate sponsors. He's the guy who created this dream, okay? So, you know, props to him, and we wouldn't have this today if he didn't think it up.
Speech.
All right.
Speech. Give a toast.
Never mind. So go ahead and check the players are ready.
All right.
We'll get going. And I'll try to, I've got this huge cord that's sitting on his lap, which is going to be fun to like. Shui ready, Polar ready? Let's get started. This is the winner bracket final. It is a best of 3 Can I confirm? Or
It is a best of
best
three.
of three? Awesome. Just for time's sake, we're having the loser bracket final going down 2-1, and I'm sure everybody who was knocked out early in the loser bracket final is like, oh, I could have cheesed my way in if I had just survived long enough. In the meantime, including cheese, Metalopolis, 12 o'clock location. We actually have Shui as the Orange Zerg, 3 o'clock location. We are going to have Polar, and it looks like we already have the APM counter up, so good luck, have fun, very manner. Metalopolis tends to be more of a macro-oriented map, but I've, from just kind of rumors around, talking to a couple people, I've heard Shui tends to be a little bit more of a small game player and tends to have very creative antics, although I've heard mostly against Protoss.
Absolutely. I do have seen a couple games of Shui that he did play in the UC Irvine CSL matches, and he is sort of an aggressive player, and he is capable of making plays. So definitely look out for Shui to make those kinds of plays in this game.
Also, a huge shout out to Darren Chen, who was the UCI CSL coordinator and retired, but he's going to come back to SE2. I actually recognize Darren Chen from like a long time CSL organization. Also going to give a shout out to Duran Parsi while I can, who's the UCSD organizer, I believe still, and all the UCSD CSL crew that's here. And I'm getting like a couple boos from the audience. Like, we're UC Irvine, we came here for this, we traveled. And all the UCI people cheer. But there it is from the crowd. In the meantime, looks like Shui has opened up 14. We'll see if he decides to go out and try to sneak an expansion and play a little bit more long-term economics. It looks like still no scout on the opposite side from Polar, no SCV, so it doesn't look like he's even going to try to well, actually, never mind, take that back. I'm colorblind. 6 o'clock location, I'm going to scout that out. So it looks like that should execute if he wants to take it. So the question is will he take it? I see a drone moving across the map, but still no drone moving out to the natural expansion. Looks like it just got wow, Nerve's playing a factor here. He's like, I'm just going to go scout with that. Just kidding. Going to build a hatchery. Come back, take that 12 o'clock base.
Absolutely, definitely going hatchery first, and of course, the fact that Polar is scouting clockwise means that he will find the hatchery first a little bit later, so it does mean that Polar can't be as aggressive as he wants to be. So I definitely do like this play. I think Shui also does know, if we look at the vision, he does know that Polar did spawn there, so nice play there and decision making by our Orange Zerg player.
I love Shui's patience with that Overlord. He took it across the north there and went all the way around and never even gave it an opportunity to be scouted at close positions. Usually see Zerg just dive that thing in, so that SCV at close proximity scouts it, which forced Polar along the edge, which basically means he could take that fast expansion without as much harass as he might have otherwise. SCV scouting in is going to see that pool. In the meantime, Polar not doing anything too crazy. It looks like he's only taken a single gas gone Rax and has actually sealed up his front door. And wow, a lot of Harvesters off the line to engage that initial SCV. But Polar looks like, yeah, just standard builds thus far. Let's see if he's going to build anything on the interior. Going factory first, which leads me to believe we are going to see a Hellion Opium, and we'll see if we go a dedication to Hellions. Whoa, there we go. Now we get to hear ourselves. Isn't that awesome? And I think I can put down the mic, so I'm going to hang it off. Head off the mic.
And it looks like the Hellion will be doing a lot of pressure on Shui. Of course, Shui does need to scout this information. He does not know the Hellions or the factory is even on the way. So getting this information will be valuable, and of course small things like spine placement and how he uses his queens will be important to dealing with this Hellion harass.
Yeah, and I'll try to do a little bit of cup action here so we don't get big feedback echo, or it's just like echo, echo, echo across the mic. That's of course what we get to hear because it's going to be on the 3-second delay, which is lots of fun for us. Nice protect, hopefully not too much. Starting to get the so yeah, this is what I get to hear 10 seconds later. Polar building an expansion inside of his base, probably going to convert that into orbital command and take that a little bit on the corner. Looks like the Hellion build, it looks, I assume we're going to switch off from that factory. That Zergling might be able to sprint up. Doesn't look like it's going to. It's just going to sit there on the lower corner. There is a bunker as well, protectively at an kind of an odd placement. Zergling way too late to get up there, but it is going to spot these Hellions incoming. Again, protective spine crawler though at the natural just to cope with it.
Absolutely. Shui, of course, preparing very adequately for this rush. He knows that he needs to get up all kinds of defense, especially since he did see that bunker, which is also signify another kind of timing attack that might follow up. Oh, look at this. He does. Hellion is actually trapped with his factory and his reactor. That is quite unfortunate. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my goodness. That's, yeah, I think that's just nerves in play. Both the bunker placement and that degree. That'll slow him down a little bit, but the recycle there, getting a definite reaction from the audience in the meantime. Looks like, by the way, can I get from the audience just like on 3 a big oh, so we can throw all the players back out there, so if they can learn to distrust what the audience is oohing and awing about here. So 1, 2, 3, which is going to be fun on delay for us. But in the meantime, the Hellions just going up to create protective, but Chewy's already off to the races. It looks like two queens moving up to the natural to protect against these Hellions.
Absolutely, I do like this play a
Wow,
lot.
no
You do
reaction
need
from
that
the
third queen for creep speed, and it does look like the Zerglings will fend off these Hellions away.
There you go.
It looks like Polar will be able to take out a lot of these Zerglings, but at the same time, these Hellions harass will be minimized completely, so great job there by Chewy. And at the same time, Chewy is just going to have a third queen spreading creep. So this is a really nice job here by Chewy just to prepare adequately for those Hellions.
Also looks like we're seeing a transition into Baneling Roach, which is very nice on this map. Actually skipping the Mutalisk harass, which is a little bit rare for Zerg players on this, particularly at close air positions, which I'm a little bit surprised by. I was expecting Chewy, particularly at close air, to decide to invest in Mutalisks instead of just a flat Baneling Roach sort of style, but I like that decision, particularly with the opening he's seen thus far. 2 more additional barracks, looks like 1 with a tech lab, 1 with a reactor on side, and Chewy now taking an additional expansion out to the corner, which leads him to believe he's going to go a little bit more infantry heavy here and just get right up in Polar's face to try to defend it.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Chewy is taking his third base, and of course, I do like this. He did fend off harassment. He is pretty safe at this point, and he's spreading his creep pretty well, now spreading his overlords. And overall, Chewy just doing a good job trying to extend his map control, because now that the Hellion harass is over, Polar is moving more towards stabilized play, which is using tanks, using more bios, so of course, Zerg will have a better control of the map.
I'm not sure if he has enough bunkers on his front door, though, if you get a good look at that. He's got the 3 full bunkers currently. Actually, one of them not even full of troops. I don't think he has enough of them out there. But really, the key to this is that creep spread. And if we check right on the front, looks like Hellions move up. This is huge, actually, because if he can take out those creep tumors before they plant, even take one of them out. Oh, just barely. The Hellions actually backing off with the Zerglings there. If you could just get that on the corner, you could really delay Chewy and his press towards his front, because that creep spread is going to be huge as far as that map presence continuing into this mid game.
Absolutely, and it looks like Polar will have to run away with that Hellion. And again, Chewy just doing a good job denying any kind of harassment by those Hellions. And of course, minimizing those damage will means that he's free to use his larva for units as opposed to drones, which normally happens when those Hellions do come.
In the meantime, Polar has I guess an SCV that felt like being suicidal. He's like, I'm going to take all of those Zerglings out myself. No problem, guys. I got it. Marines deciding to step up, though, and it looks like that SCV is going to pull back to live another day, although getting stuck on a looks like engineering bay building duty. But now a Spire has been planted for Chewy, so he is going to make a transition back to air, perhaps just getting those initial roaches out to help deal against those initial Hellions. But he's doing fantastic economically. In fact, if we bring up the economy tab, you can see 63 harvesters to 37 comparatively, and he's really going to have Polar locked out of that third base.
Absolutely. The fact that he is on 3 base and the fact that this third base is pretty far from the Terran means Chewy will be able to just fart out any kinds of units he wants anytime really soon, especially with Mutalisks coming out on the way, with the 5th and 6th gas coming up. His production will soar off the charts.
I really like the wording you used there, fart out. With all the gas he has, yeah, he's really going to have just absolute dominance, absolute map control, should have a strong economy to work with, and as soon as those Mutalisks are fielded, things are really going to be difficult for Polar.
Yeah, a small thing I do want to point out as Polar is going to move out is that Chewy does have a pretty good view of the map. If you look at his view, he does have a view of pretty much everything around the Terran base, so he is doing a good job to make sure he's not going to be surprised by any kind of large tank pushing, which looks like what Polar wants to actually do.
Actually, I almost worry about Polar in the situation because he's thinking, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a long... Actually, no, it looks like he's looping around, maybe got a comset here after the 9 o'clock, is looping the far way around away from the creep to engage an attack perhaps, realizing that he's economically out of this match. 9 o'clock expansion is building for Chewy, so he could even things up if he could just go out, but unfortunately a Zergling spotting him at that Zelnaga watchtower. Let's see if he backs off this attack or still decides to engage. Actually now moving up to the gold expansion. The gold expansion could help him, but unfortunately I feel like if he decides, I'm going to play this slow and economically, he's just going to get run over because Shu is just doing a fantastic job in the harvester count and his expansions. It looks like he's running up to engage right now.
Oh my goodness, this damage, this attack could do a ton of damage. It looks like at this point though, Polar is turtling back, and if he does get that siege mode up, he does not want to attack into that, especially with those bunkers, so good decision there by Shui. Instead, taking his 4th expansion, so very nice patience, and overall just slowly taking over the map. I definitely do like Shui's play right now.
It looks like Shui is really just saying, okay, I'm going to play this economically. He's already at 83 harvesters, beautiful, and I think we can bring up the production tab at this stage. But is just taking the map over, and Polar is just indecisive. He's like, okay, am I 2-basing this? Am I doing what? And in the main, Mutalisks diving in. I assume those are Mutalisks. Yeah, diving in, they're going to crush a lot of this, and that army completely out of position. Now Polar is really dedicated to what I would consider an all-in attack. I feel like if Shui can just hold this attack off at the 9 o'clock, looks like he's running up to engage here. Oh, man. Initially, I think that might have been spotted. The army was headed that direction. More, wow, that is a huge amount of banelings gathering up for Shui. It looks like he's going to let that army climb up to the 12 o'clock, and then he's just going to pin it in with Mutalisks and banelings, just destroy it from the rear. Siege tanks do have the advantage of the ramp, but the Mutalisks diving in. Looks like they are going to catch the siege tanks in open field. Mutalisks eating a lot of damage with the banelings rolling. Oh, wow. All of the siege tanks taken out. Still a lot of medic marines up in the air, and they do have nice positioning behind that mineral line, trying to flee, trying to move back and survive, but it looks like there's too much. Oh, Polar now backed off to 2 bases, and Shui still with map control, still with map dominance.
Absolutely. He does have an extra macro hatchery, so he is on 5 full hatchery production. We pull up the supply counts. Shui is just 30 to 40 supply up, and at this stage of the mid-game, that is a huge lead, especially for Zerg, and especially since, for the most part, Polar has not been able to damage Zerg's economy whatsoever, Diggity.
Yeah, I don't think he's gotten a single drone kill. I mean, he opened up Hellion, had that delay, which did not help. Mutalisks are just having a field day here. They're like, oh, nom from up above. Some Marines trying to engage, but it looks like that reactor is going to get taken out. Nevertheless, Marines having a lot of trouble there on that low ground. And actually, I'm surprised that Polar hasn't opened up that front door to make it a little bit more mobile. But it looks like in the meantime, trying to expand. I don't think Shui's going to let him. In fact, I think Shui's just going to go for a consistent and endless array of just banelings, Mutalisks, and Zerglings attacking his front. He does have an infestation pit along that back edge and could easily go to Broodlord. It looks like Polar is trying to get a starport. He actually hasn't even fielded a medevac yet to deal with this army. Looks like he at least has combat shield upgrade, but yeah, he's looking like he's in a lot of trouble. But Shui dominating this. Look at all the expansions on that map. So much orange, so much purple creeping forward as well. He is scary.
Absolutely, and one thing, Shui is continuing to spread creep along the highway. He does want to have instant access to Polar's base, but here comes the engagement. Looks like the Marines are in front, a lot of banelings trailing, and it looks like the banelings are going to do a ton of damage. The tanks cannot hold off any of the rush, and it looks like at this point, everything is going to get cleaned up for Polar, and it looks like Shui is going to be able to deny that third. SCVs are now caught in the line for those banelings, and that is awful news. It looks like at this point, Shui is in full control. He has +2/+2 ready for his units, and it doesn't look like is anything good for Polar right now.
Oh, Polar, he doesn't have anything going for him right now. He doesn't have the upgrade. Shui is just playing a fantastic match. Still pinned him into 2 bases. I would expect Polar to GG not too long from now. Actually, if I was Shui, I would just like, hey, let's just take everything else too. Gold expansion, whatnot. Baneling's just chilling there like, hey, what's up to that command center? Go ahead and land if you feel like it. And there's actually Mutalisks as well to go, oh, maybe they'll realize there's the command center floating out there. Doesn't look like they're going to engage. Instead, just going to stay grouped up. More Marines running forward. Actually, those Marines are lucky. They're like, yeah, we're going to go kill stuff, but missing a huge group of banelings instead.
They arrived late to the battle.
Yeah, a little bit late to the party.
I thought we were supposed to come here to defend the third base.
They feel like heroes here, I'm sure. They're like, yeah, that's right. The Zerg should have cleared out right there. In the meantime, Shui is wreaking havoc again at the main with those Mutalisks. If we check the mini-map, yeah, he's just destroying the infrastructure now. I don't expect Polar is really going to be able to keep in this match much longer, and I'm expecting Shui sometime here to start. Yeah, I think he's already got that Greater Spire in production, and eventually, oh man, especially with that melee upgrade for those Broodlings, it's going to be devastating.
Absolutely, and it looks like at this point, Shui is just going to harp on his upgrade advantage. Polar, of course, just barely finishing 1-1, now starting +2. He is just securing his third base, and of course, at this point, Polar needs more than just Marine tank to fight off Mutilating Baneling. with the threat of a greater spire.
Oh my goodness, more Mulisks product. I don't think more than 5 Mulisks have been killed this entire game, honestly. It just seems like that army has been untouched. A couple Zerglings, on the other hand, it's their job to die. That's what they do for a living. It's like, some people 9 to 5 is work at McDonald's, whatever. Banelings,
Worst
they
job
die.
ever.
Yeah, seriously, Banelings and Zerglings, that's the thing, is if you get promoted, you get to explode instead of hanging out all day in front of a siege tank. But it looks like that natural, very well sealed up Bipolar, I don't think it's going to last very long for him, though.
Ooh, it looks like a drop here by Polar. I definitely agree that Polar wanted to get a little bit back into the game with drops, but of course Shuey, just with so much map control, has eyes everywhere. He is the big brother Zerg right now, being able to catch everything. So it looks like at this point, Shuey again just taking and reinforcing his ginormous lead, now up to 70 supply.
Ooh, he's near maxed. He's almost 100 supply up on Polar. A ton of Banelings now morphing in, which is extremely scary. Command center in the background. I don't know where he's thinking of expanding there, because as soon as he gets anywhere, if he even flinches out here, Shuey's just going to jump on top of him. Oh, this is scary. And these Mules just like, whatever. Don't even care about the marine fire underneath.
Wow, there are 29 Mulisks on the field, and at that point it is just so much damage. You can basically one-shot turrets, take out any kind of anti-air very easily, and at this point Shuey is just in full command. I'm not really sure what Polar is trying to do at this point. He is going to fight off the Mulisk though with a really nice marine force, but at the same time he does need to look to gear towards taking his fourth. He is making that command center, but securing it will be so hard, especially since Shuey does control 5 bases, plus going for the gold as well as the 6 o'clock expansion.
Wow, Shuey basically has almost every expansion on the map. Basically 3 short out of, I don't even know I've never even bothered to count every expansion because it hasn't come up in the point in the past. I'm not sure why Shuey, this is the one bit of impatience I've seen him do right before the Greater Spire is ready to go, decided to suicide all his Mulisks, maybe to free up supply. He's like, I've got extra resources all over the place, so I don't need to worry about it. Let's just go in, pick off some siege tanks. I've got like billions of Banelings otherwise. Let me go ahead and get some, free up supply, getting rid of some Mulisks so I can get some Corruptors and actually get them up to Broodlord. And that poor Marine.
Shuey is the Zerg rich kid who always was able to throw away money, and you always are jealous. All the poor Zergs are crying right now, asking for welfare, Diggity, because how much wealth Shuey has. Look at his income. It is absolutely astronomical. Oh, actually, I take that back. He's just transferred some drones to different bases. But hold up, looks like Polar does want to come on the west side of the map. He is bringing, I think this is his last giant push. He's at 140 supply, and of course, Broodlords are just about to pop, so I do not think this is going to turn out well for Terran. But here comes the engagement. Zerglings are going to rush forward ahead without the army. Looks like Shuey is going to pull back, and at this point, Polar needs to make something happen. Looks like he's going to push in the Marines one last time for good luck, and at the same time, though, Shuey is popping more and more Broodlords and Corruptors, and here comes engagement. So many Banelings coming in to take out the Marines and the tanks, and there's just too much from Shuey. And I don't know, I don't think there's anything going to be left for Polar after this battle.
The Marines are sprinting for their life. They're trying to get out of there, but the Banelings just right on top of it. Corruptors taking out the Medivacs overhead, and I think that's going to be all she wrote. Somehow Polar's still expanding to 6 o'clock, so he is still trying to make a game out of it, but I think as soon as he sees this massive Broodlord army, look at that. And more to come. Oh my goodness! I don't think Shuey's anywhere near any sort of anti-air either. So it's just going to be like single Marines versus the Broodlords. Totally a fair fight. Just sitting over the gold expansion. Yeah, those 4 Marines are like, we'll get the job done, no problem. Running up there.
We should not have slept in.
Yeah, I should have skipped work today. 6 o'clock location. Polar has that mining. Still hasn't gotten into orbital command, but ironically, Shuey has the main of that base. He's just kind of chilling out there. Running up there.
And it looks like right now Polar is going to try to do one more play. He does want to grab this expansion. And actually, if Polar can set up and turtle really well, of course, he does need something to deal with these Broodlords. Polar is going to try to do everything he can. Does pick it up and try to run away, but these Corruptors are actually pretty darn fast. And it looks like at this point, Polar is going to lose his last mining base. And that will probably be it. Polar is almost mined out of his third. And he's now only on 1 mining base, so that will definitely end the game from that point.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like he's trying to upgrade to Planetary Fortress, even has SCVs offline, but the Broodlings actually block out some of those SCVs on the group repair. And even then, it's like, yay, Planetary Fortress upgrade to stop all this air attack really isn't going to help him out. So that is taken out very rapidly. Polar down to 1 mining base. Another attack cycling out to the gold expansion, though. Wow, it's like siege tanks up by Marines trying to retreat the Zelnaga watchtowers. This reminds me of Starship Troopers right here, the movie, not the book.
Oh, man.
It's just scary, the amount of stuff that Shuey is able to field here.
This is the power of the Zerg. There's absolutely nothing Polar can do. He is being overrun completely. His supply now plummeting to below 70. Meanwhile, Shuey is completely maxed. There is nothing Polar right now can try, I think, at this point. And it looks like Polar will call GG, and Shuey will take this first game.
So game one going to Shuey in a very, very convincing manner. He controlled the game from start to finish, and just will set things up. And actually, this live streaming thing working pretty well. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We will try to be a little bit silent in the meantime.
All
for
those echoes going
all
on.
the
It's like
echo,
the Grand Canyon.
It's the Grand Canyon. It's fun for us. So we're going to lift our mics momentarily and set up game two.
All right.
You guys, quick announcements. Lime and Dorichan need to start their game.
Shuey kicked his power on accident. Awesome. So excited from the victory, he decided to just drop kick his power.
Absolutely. So looks like we will have a little bit of a break. Shuey, of course, supposedly kicked his power, so I guess maybe he accidentally still is online.
So we'll wait for him to get back. Declining the lobby invite. We're just not popular enough for him.
So I think going back a little bit to that game, what made a huge difference was the fact that Shuey minimized that harass damage. Of course, Polar wanted to use more of those Hellions, and when he got that economic advantage, especially when we saw 63 drones compared to the 30 or 40 of Polar, so at that point, Zerg was able to get way ahead.
I think there was a lot of factors. Specifically, it looked like Shuey was playing confidently, or on the opposite side, Polar was playing extremely nervous. And I think that was exemplified most of all by that bunker and its placement, and the fact that, he pinned his Hellions back in the corner.
I think those were some pretty bad Hellions. They definitely did not do their chores, and they were just located to the corner to get some time out.
And on top of that, Shuey, he just had map vision the entire time. He really knew what was going on, it seemed like, at every stage of the match. And when you're a Zerg and you know what's going on in the map, you know exactly what you need to do. And Shuey just was able to capitalize on that and just push drones and drones and drones. I think he was, at 74 drones when there's 33 out for Polar, and I know those numbers are off. But he was basically at double the drone count, had a huge economy, was already at his third when he knew Polar was more or less starting to shell up and thinking about playing more of a slow game. So wasn't just one step ahead, he was 2, sometimes 3 steps ahead. Currently still actually waiting on Polar now to log back in.
Both players are still disconnected.
Going to give shout out to Never Expo in the meantime, I'm seeing at the top of the list there. NRG Cheese actually is, it was funny because I think it was Machine or someone, and I've said this like twice today, so Cheese is going to get embarrassment. He's on the UCSD CSL team out there. Someone should pat him on the back if he's out in the crowd. But I've been old pals with all of the NRG team, and I was talking to Machine or someone in the EG, and I was like, hey, that's Cheese, he's from the UCSD team. He's great, he's awesome. I can't believe he made it there. That's awesome. And they're like, no, it's some other cheese. There's like a billion cheeses on internet on BattleNet, so don't worry about it. Some other guy. And I'm like, I think that's him, really. And they're like, no, Diggity. No good players come from UCSD. Of course not.
Oh my god.
It's like, oh, come on. So and then I checked it today, and I'm like, it's him. So I'm happy. And now I can go make fun of people.
Absolutely. And of course, if people who do not understand watching on the stream, we are talking about the Collegiate Star League, the CSL. If you go to university somewhere within North America, check out cstarleague.com. We do have schools all over the entire continent. So we are talking about the UCSD team. There are people from UC Irvine. So we thank you if you are a follower of the CSL. So definitely tune in. We do have weekly casts, and we are very excited to bring that to everyone who wants to watch.
Yeah, I also want to thank everybody who actually drove out here. I mean, we had people coming down from all over the place. Fullerton, I know, we had the UC Irvine guys, everybody. Yeah, if you traveled to come to this tournament, do you know what the total tournament count was as far as participants? I mean, I was looking at the bracket, and it was gigantic.
It was 128 entry, and we had so many people who also signed up as backups to come in. A lot of people, even who weren't playing, came to bring their laptops and computer just to have interaction. So this is overall a phenomenally successful tournament. I'm very excited to see what happens.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially considering, okay, we had 128 this year in a double elimination bracket, where you
man.
compare it to last year where we had 32, I think, and we still weren't finished by midnight. We were actually playing in a closet, like back. It was a machine, and I can't even remember. I think it was Random Korean, and we had Jaeyoon somewhere in there. And we were just playing in like a little mop closet with like 20 guys packed in there. It was great.
And obviously, we are so excited for the growth of StarCraft 2. Esports is becoming much bigger in the Western Hemisphere, so definitely looks like both players did sign on, and we will be able to get them into the game momentarily. Looks like Game 2 will be on Scrap Station. And how do you think Game 2 will play out, especially in TVZ?
I'm surprised that Polar chose Scrap Station against a Zerg player, and it looks like Shui declining the invite once again, because it's not stereotypically one of those maps where you think, yeah, I totally want to go play Zerg against as a Terran. So I assume he's got some sort of creative build, maybe a little bit of cheese going on, that he's got some maybe, I don't know, false sense of security, wants to get his mojo back.
Perhaps. I mean, maybe Polar does want to do something with the island. We have seen certain players do it. I know OGS Top, for example, likes to use that island a lot in his TVZ. So there's different ways to utilize this map. So it's not completely Zerg favored in that aspect. But you can also even deny the third pretty easily, especially since it is pretty far from the first two bases.
I think the trick is I think there's one or two ways to sneaking through it. Is either you go air and take that island expansion and work it that way, and you have to play it really sensitively, because if you end up losing any form of your air force against your Mutalisk opponent, it's weird, because usually air, you're going out, you're trying to pick off overlords, you're trying to limit vision, things like that.
Yes.
But you almost have to go back and just maintain your army. You want to keep it alive rather than pushing up and being aggressive, things like that. Or you can do the opposite and just try to shell up like crazy while somehow magically doing drops and just slowing your Zerg opponent down. If you can just do little bitty harassment things, try to slow down that third with engineering base, supply depots, little task force, lisping all of a sudden. If you can get drops in the back of his base, just try to slow him down a little bit while you start to push out and take over the map. You can also have some success that way, but both ways it's an uphill battle. I feel like as long as Zerg decides to take the air, that's the other thing. I feel like Zerg can go air and you can play very strong as air, but at the same time that doesn't limit you from, hey, let's go Roach, something along those lines, or mixing it up a little bit. It's almost like Lost Temple with any race versus Terran, that early Thor drop on the corner.
Absolutely, and I think also something that might help Polar if he wants to revisit that Hellion harass, and of course covering that distance will be much easier with those units. The ramp is pretty wide, so protecting that ramp will be a lot harder if he wants to go around the queens. And so overall, it's generally, if he wants to go for that kind of harass, the areas you were talking about, those Hellions, I think that's maybe if that style Polar wants to go, it can be very effective. Yeah,
the most success I've seen out of players versus Zerg as Terran on this map has been with the early Hellion, get out 4 Hellions, and just try to kill Zerglings as much as you can and just try to deny vision, so they don't know whether you're following it up with a drop, they don't know whether you're following it up with hard tech some other direction, or if you're expanding. And usually what they do is you'll just protect that expansion with that and try to take a quick third on top of it. But we'll see. Shui actually still having issues back in the room. I'm kind of curious what's taking him so long, perhaps saying, wow, I just won that so awesomely that I'm scared of my own skills here.
Watching his own replay, God, I'm so good.
Yeah, in the back corner. So hopefully we'll get going here in a minute. I'm not sure what the delays are. Perhaps kick that power cord electrocuted him, so now he's like worrying about his fingertips and things.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, my APM is all messed up. Can't control.
Yeah, I definitely. I think these two are teammates, right? On UC Irvine, I believe.
On UC Irvine?
Yes.
Let's see if we can get confirmation from the crowd and get like a big, loud yes from the Irvine people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Irvine definitely representing.
So wow.
And of course,
Irvine coming to UCSD like home turf and clearing the bracket.
All right, so it looks like Shui did get a confirmation that he is ready. We are going to invite him, and he will accept. I will not take no for an answer, despite my high school prom. Person might actually say otherwise.
Had to bring up the past.
All right, so it looks like we are almost studying, although Shui
almost done. Let's ask him what's going on. Polar can give us the inside scoop in the back room.
Oh, actually,
Oh,
looks
there
like
we got
he
him.
is ready to go. So we are going to get the ready from both players.
Polar go. I guess they're sitting next. No.
Sech.
Sech.
Sech. It's like the German way to say ask for one more second play.
Yeah. The Zerg way. You always get the extra H's in there. And the kick is.
K's.
Yeah. Sometimes the Z's. Because, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I guess we are going to see Shui actually leave the
Shui
venue.
killing us.
I guess he does not approve of our jokes.
Frowny face from Polar as well.
Shui, you're breaking our heart, man.
Oh, man. I should have gotten a big, like, long list of cheesy jokes to share with you guys.
Oh, I love corny jokes.
Go for it if you
All
have
right,
one right
okay.
off the top.
What do you call an antelope that can't run?
No idea.
A cantaloupe.
Nice. I only know a semi-dirty one recently. It was actually from
Oh,
NPR
no,
this morning. They
booing
had
me.
the they're getting the booze. No.
Oh, God.
I actually heard one this morning that I thought was pretty good, which is like a doe is coming out of the forest, and she says, "That's the last time I'm doing that for $2."
Oh. Oh, we actually have someone else in the lobby, and is
Yes.
this the finals?
Winner bracket final. Maybe. Let's confuse him.
Let's confuse them.
How far are you? We got to start the game right now. Like, go! You can do
How
it,
far are
Pigman. Some big prize for you waiting around the corner. Still waiting on Chewy. Longest restart ever for StarCraft.
Sounds good. Well, I'm going to message Shui really quick.
I think there might be some drug enhancement going along.
Yeah, I think he definitely needs to sneak in that Adderall in between games, gets his concentration back up, get his spidey senses tingling.
It's like, oh, I kicked the power thing. I've got to go to the restroom really fast.
Can I take a 5-minute break?
Well, the computer restarted. Glass of water, anyone?
Have you seen the ad for the new Spider-Man? You see like that guy replacing Tobey Maguire?
No.
I think his name's Andrew Garfield. He looks kind of like too preppy for Spider-Man, I think. I like that nerdy look that Tobey Maguire had for Spider-Man.
Just might as well talk about movies as we're doing the change of topic.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think of any movies coming out I'm actually excited for. Darren, there's the man himself. UC
Darren
Irvine
C.
support. If it's not an imposter, hopefully. Hey, we have Shui now. We're actually might be ready to go.
All right, so give it a round of applause for Shui. He is back in the room.
Woo! All right, ready to go. Let's double check on both players, see if we're... Okay, go ahead
All
and
right,
let's get
so
it started.
we are underway. Countdown has begun.
Had a little bit of confusion in the background. We're like, oh, we're going to swap them. I think this is the easiest, actually.
Yeah, I think this is fine.
So going on to Scrap Station, 3 o'clock location, we have Polar as the green Terran, going to try to even it up. 12 o'clock location, we have Shui as the orange Zerg. And again, I think Shui, I assume he's going to go straight to Mutalisk. Once again, a huge shout out to Darren C., actually a great player. Actually had a lot of trash talk with him versus UCSD and some of the prior CSLs, but I'll bring that up in another cast some other time perhaps. But anyway, yeah, I wonder what Polar's going to be up to, because choosing Scrap Station, I have to think he has something in mind.
I definitely think so. I think when you pick a map like this, it's very counterintuitive based off the general trends. But of course, Polar, maybe for his style, wants to go for that immediate harass. Maybe even trying to prepare a specific build for this map, because of course they are teammates, so they are familiar with each other's styles, and they might want to change it up based off that knowledge.
The one thing I did not consider is perhaps this is a setup, and perhaps he's like, okay, I'm going to I'm just gonna lose this one. I'll go to the loser bracket, and then we'll have the real final as an epic rematch. But the other problem with Scrap Station, I feel like, is you've got the Overlord coverage where you can just get Overlords all over the map, and just it's so hard to cheese because your opponent, almost, especially Zerg, can almost see what's going on constantly. The Overlord's always on the corner. They can see that destructible rocks. They can get that Overlord with a natural expansion. They can see the fast expansion. Unless you're going air very, very rapidly and dedicating Vikings, which really isn't necessarily what you want to dedicate early with an air rush. You usually see Banshees more often to at least slow your Zerg opponent down. I mean, when they see Vikings, they laugh at that, build 40 drones. But but in the meantime, I wonder how he's going to pull this off. Looks like we are seeing a fast expansion for Shui here.
Yeah, Shui again opening the same way as he did last game, and why not? It worked phenomenal. As long as he was able to hold off that harass, Polar will be very, very less effective. But meanwhile, it looks like Shui is going to do a little bit of that SCV harassment. And of course, based off that last patch, we do see that SCVs do build around their buildings a lot more consistently. And so definitely Shui capitalizing on that opportunity.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that we didn't see an instant SCV kill. That would have just made me cry. But Orbital Command, yeah, I would have teared up. Let's see if we see a second gas to follow this up from Polar. He's actually grabbed catty corner on that ramp. That ramp's still very wide, and it looks like that Overlord is going to back off. And I don't see any additional Overlords. Secondary Overlords are actually hanging out near the main, which might be a little bit of a mistake for Shui. He's actually just sticking to the front, getting a spawning pool, getting Extractor alongside. But the additional Overlords you see are not starting to make their way out towards the green base. They're just chilling at the natural expansion, keeping a strong eye on that SCV.
I think right now Shui definitely wants to look at that SCV. Maybe that Overlord and SCV is having an affair.
Oh no!
And cheating on both races. It is the story of Romeo and Juliet in the 25th century between Terran and Zerg. Of course, I do think that Shui also wants to use this for to watch any kind of bunkers that may be placed. Maybe some kind of rush that would definitely damage Shui's economy a lot when he's trying to get it up. So using that Overlord there as a second is an interesting choice. As you say, it looks like Polar is actually trying to go for that, do a little bit of pressure here, and I think Shui should be able to deal this pretty easily. Yeah,
it looks like he's already able to take a SCV. That Marine is going up against 2 drones, and unfortunately, he might lose this Marine to drones alone. There's some Zerglings in production right now as well. Very cleverly capping that drone on gas to keep it alive. Ooh. So I like that decision. Nice split-second decision making. In the meantime, it looks like we have a Hellion Harass in the front, switching over. Probably going to be, Hellion actually a tech lab alongside as well.
Absolutely. So
and that's going to cover an expansion. It looks like we also have a command center building in the corner for Polar, so it's going to be Hellions to cover that natural expansion like I was talking about in the break, but Speed Zerglings upgrading in the meantime. And there's going to be a very small window where Polar needs to get in there. He needs to put a hurt on the drones, and he needs to make sure that the Zerglings do not overwhelm and get any sort of additional coverage. The one thing I worry about, though, is still Shui does have that Overlord over that natural expansion. He is going to see that fast expansion coming down the line. It looks like he does also have a second Suicide Overlord making its way into into the main. So going to see it, but it looks like there is going to be a big window where there's not a lot of defenses, and these Hellions are just going to be able to stroll on in.
Absolutely. I think right now Shui does know the Hellions are coming, so he's had adequate time to prepare. Meanwhile, two queens are actually just popped out, so nice timing here by Shui. These Hellions are going to try to get as many kills, but not even getting a single kill yet. It looks like one finally was able to pick up a couple kills. But at this point, Polar getting his Hellion completely surrounded, so nice job here by Shui to minimize all kinds of damage. And again, the Hellion harass that Polar tried was not very effective.
What a fantastic defense by Shui altogether with just 2 queens, a couple of Zerglings, and the brilliance of that is on top of that, he kept Zerglings alive, he took the Hellions out, and that's really going to put pressure on Polar where he's not going to be as comfortable taking that natural expansion. It looks like he's going to try to expand anyway, but the Zerglings are incoming, he doesn't have anything out there to defend it. The Zerglings should be able to run up and do some harass. Actually, looks like 2 additional Hellions were produced. One of them very low in health. Looks like they are going to be able to clear a little bit out, but this is the thing, the Zerglings are happy to sacrifice themselves here because look at this, 10 drones producing in the background there.
Wow.
For Shui. He's like, go ahead, you can take those Zerglings out. I'm just going to take a gigantic economic lead in the meantime.
And meanwhile, since Polar is expanding, he is in no position to actually move out and try to punish for joining up that much. And of course, right now, as you were saying before, Shui is positioning that other Overlord to see the tech and the path that Polar does choose eventually. So overall, I do like what Shui has been doing on this map so far.
Interestingly enough, it looks like mostly just Zerglings. If we can go ahead and take a look at the main and look at some of the base right here, there's a lair, it's a Roach Warren. It looks like we have seen and a Baneling, so it's going to be Roach, Baneling. Okay, wow, Banelings and Aspire. So switching back around a lot like game one, and kind of interesting play there. I guess I haven't seen this style of Zerg very often, really, where you actually see the Roach Warren and then you actually see the tech switch all the way back. Usually you see players just go straight to it. I don't even think he built a Roach, actually, if you bring up the unit tab. Yeah, not even a single Roach, just wanted it there just in case. Very interesting. Definitely,
especially with the Hellion possibilities, in case Polar really wanted to commit to Hellions, which he keeps seeing a lot of Hellions. You want to have those Roach as a backup. Of course, Roaches do deal with Hellions really well. But here it comes. Looks like a bunch of Zerglings are going to try to go, but a tank does fend it away. And he does know that with that tank comes the viability of more mech that will be on the field. So, of course, Shui going with the right choice, going for Mutalisk to hopefully just keep Terran inside of his base.
And the Marines moving up there and do it. Marines do best being bully in numbers there. And so confident when there's like a huge number of them. It's like 3 of them, like stim pack run away. But
they're just insecure jerks from high school.
Exactly. It's the insecure jerk Marines from, especially with that combat shield upgrade. They're just like those, it's like, hey, you can just see the guys who aren't even on the football team. They're like second string football teamers. The Marauders are the first string guys. In the meantime, looks like Baneling's centrifugal hooks are upgrading. We have some Zerglings, wow, gold expansion as well, and I like that decision, particularly with the Banelings coming. Destructible rocks being opened up, so I assume Polar is going to go for some sort of timing attack here. Going to open up both destructible rocks and push it, and this is another problem for Shui right here, is I would expect additional overlords along this corner in particular, but skipping it instead is just going to scout that with the creep. So I actually like that, so not exposing it too much just in case, but this is going to be very sensitive. The destructible rocks are going to be gone. I don't see a lot of Banelings in the field. There are some Mutalisks, so Polar might have an opportunity here.
Absolutely, and I think at this point Shui is trying to scramble, but he does have a lot of time. There is absolutely no excuse for him not to be prepared for this rush. Meanwhile, it looks like +1/+1 still on the way. Actually, Polar does pull back, so I guess at this point he just wants that option to open up the path. And of course, when you do open up that path, you are, as Terran, opening yourself up for 2 paths for flanking, as Zerg is able to go through this path right over here to perhaps surround from behind. So of course, Polar wants to be mindful of that when he's pushing out.
I have to say, I feel like Shui really dodged a bullet there, because he had 6 Banelings and several siege tanks out in the field, pulling back perhaps because of the Mutalisk harass. But even so, I feel like more or less the Mutalisks would have had to remain on the defense. But Mutalisk wandering up. Wow, missile turret still not there. Marines blocked out, because once again, I think this seems to be a pattern in Polar's builds, is he just doesn't open up that front for mobility back to the main. So Shui able to pick off a turret and really harass and just force Polar into a defensive situation. Might even be able to get some bonus kills on the top, just to eat some missile hits more or less and clear out that gas. Looks like he is going to do so. But in the meantime, level 1 weapons across the board. Shui getting some nice upgrades, is actually mining at that gold expansion, but Polar swinging right back around to open up that destructible rock. And that is a very formidable attack force.
Oh my goodness. One thing that will help Shui out a lot is he does have creep tumors everywhere, but the creep tumors are going down. Here come the Banelings. Looks like the Marines are going to stim and try to get away. The tank's doing a ton of damage, and oh my goodness, all the Banelings taking out without doing too much damage on the Marines. So it looks like right now Polar in a very, very good position. His supply is now slightly ahead, despite being behind a little bit for most of the game. And here comes the point where Shui has to make a huge decision. It looks like Polar is going to siege up, and the Marines are going to push up. Diggity.
Oh, this is a huge spot for Polar too, because those siege tanks cover the reinforcement. He just needs a couple Marines back to help defend against those Mutalisks on the high ground, but basically those Marines can retreat across the low. Wow, Polar just shoving his way up, and it looks like, Shui has nothing. He just got too greedy with that gold expansion. Siege tanks actually blocking off that natural as well. Zerglings fleeing, just exploding down below. Marines taking out everything here in the main. Looks like that spawning pool is going to be taken out.
GG.
Oh, wow. There's GG from Shui. Well played from Polar on what I would consider not to be a good map for Terran at all. So just catching Shui being way too greedy with that gold expansion, not producing enough troops when he needed to, and backing off. I thought, oh man, he just lost his opportunity. Shui's going to build a ton of stuff, but Shui again consistently being greedy, and Polar able to exploit.
Absolutely. I think you hit it perfectly, Diggity. Although the timing of the third seems right at the same time, Polar capitalizing on that perfectly. He had that small window before he can get that critical number of meal lift, before he was able to produce a lot of Banelings and Zerglings at the same time, before upgrades were like about to finish. So Polar, of course, picking that right time. Absolutely, that was great game sense. And frankly, I'm pretty impressed with that push as well. He timed it very, very nicely.
Absolutely. Just hit that golden window. So moving on to game 3, let's see if we can find out what the map is.
Zelnaga Caverns.
Zelnaga Caverns. Interesting choice.
Absolutely. I think more and more players are saying that Zelnaga is kind of Zerg favored because it's very open, different paths, but I think
That's interesting.
both players are able to use it in this matchup.
It's funny, at the higher levels, usually I see players, especially Zerg players, they don't like Zelnaga Caverns just because it is a 2-player map. It's a 1v1 sort of style.
I see.
And that natural expansion is easy to harass. It's easy to shut down.
That's true.
So it's kind of odd that you see the Terran go, okay, let's go to Scrap Station. That's totally a good map for Terran. And now you have like the Zerg that's like, hey, let's go to Zelnaga Caverns. I don't mind getting my natural expansion blocked.
All right, so with that in mind, looks like we are going to go to game 3. So winner of this will stay in the winner's bracket and move on to the championship map, and the loser will drop to the loser bracket finals, and he will have a chance to challenge. But who's going to win? I don't know. Looks like we're just going to get ready for this game 3.
So upper right-hand corner, we have Polar as the green Terran. Bottom left-hand corner, we have Shui as the orange Zerg. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. I almost wonder if Shui has some sort of one-base play in mind. Again, he's opened Roach several times, but actually hasn't produced Roach. I don't even know if he produced Roach in game 1. Just likes having that the Roach cavern. I guess he just has comfort in them, like his little pillow.
Yeah, it's
security
like that
blanket.
libido that helps him sleep.
Yeah,
at night.
it's like, oh man, no, I love those roaches. Just knowing that I can produce them sometimes. But yeah, this is like the standard map, especially last match. I'm surprised he went with this because this is that map where you want to field Hellions, push him out there, harass. There's just so many places where you can take that natural expansion. Perhaps he just knows that perhaps this is kind of a player decision. He knows that Polar isn't as comfortable in one-base play, and Terran more or less is forced to a longer-term one-base play on this map.
Absolutely. And of course, Polar does know Shui's style, once again, as we've said, and he does know that Shui likes to open hatchery first. And perhaps on a map like Zelnaga Caverns, where we do see a lot of barracks and bunker pushing in the beginning of the Zerg versus Terran matchup, that might be prevalent as well as we prepare to enter that kind of the phase of the game.
What I'm kind of hoping to see actually from Polar is some of that early 2 racks pressure action where you go across and sometimes expand behind that, sometimes still harass, but basically just get a lot of units out, get up in Shui's face, harass that natural, just make him think you're gone, then come right back. There's just a lot of territory to deal with. Looks like Shui is natural expanding, and a very late scout there, very late to SCV, so wasn't able to get an engineering bay out in the way, so actually after barracks. So it looks like Shui, great decision. He's able to expand nevertheless, despite this being one of those maps where it's very rare for Zerg to get that natural expansion down without any sort of harassment.
Absolutely. Terrans do want to make Zern earn their expansions, and of course Polar are going to grab gas as soon as possible so that 2 barracks play not really an option at this point. But meanwhile, it looks like Shui is going to do a little bit of scouting here, wants to be able to see what's going to happen, and ultimately I think Shui might even want to go for a gas deal at this point because there are a lot of options Polar can do off of one base, but instead he's just going to pull out before a Marine can end its life prematurely.
That's the one thing I have to say though, is if he lets Shui sit off 2 bases and particularly get his creep established, when you start talking about mid-game versus Zerg, it gets extremely difficult, especially for Terran, I feel like, unless they go a quick dedication to air and just try to go with persistent and aggressive drops, more or less, because Zerg just has that mobility with the creep. They have the fast units of the Zerglings, they have the explosive units with the Banelings, you know, little firecrackers you can throw out there, and they can just keep engaging across that third. They can, as long as they keep a Zergling spotting along that back corner, they can be really frustrating, and they can more or less let their offense be their defense, just be everywhere at once. It looks like we are seeing another factory open with a reactor though, so Hellions, and I almost feel like this is it just feels a little bit late to me, also a additional barracks in the corner, so factory followed up. It looks like there's going to be some sort of interesting one-base timing attack here from Polar.
Yeah, we do see the 2 barracks, 1 factory push. This will involve Hellion harass, as we've seen. Polar opening the same all 3 games, and of course, he will hope to do a little bit more damage. Both games, Shui's been able to shut it down very nicely with 2 queens at the front and a pack of Zerglings to trap. So definitely Shui is aware of that possibility, and I think Polar does want to be a little bit more effective. At the same time, though, maybe even go for a similar timing push as he did on Scrap Station.
Yeah. Definitely, if it worked once, maybe it'll work again. Looks like that. Is that SCV going to make it? No!
He's like, let
abandoned.
me in. No! I paid my taxes.
I do think the one hero in this map is there's an Overlord sneaking across the 3 o'clock location. He's just been slowly, actually looks like he's just going to hang out in space, but if that Overlord can just come at just the right timing, sneak up, see that second barracks, see the troops that are producing there, he could be the absolute hero of this match, and actually not a reactor even. So it's going to be a Marauder Hellion push. Very interesting.
Ooh, I like this.
Ooh, very interesting. And hopefully he doesn't run up against air. Hopefully he doesn't. But I haven't seen any sort of mid-game tech decision yet from Shuey at all. It looks like he's just been massing up.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to throw down that spine call. Of course, spine call placement matters a lot. I like that he puts it here so that he can control this choke right here. Looks like he's going to want to control the ramp as well with that third queen finally teching to layer. So a layer a little bit later than what he would expect. But of course, Shuey going for a pretty economic build doesn't really surprise me one bit.
Yeah, it looks like he's been mostly dedicating a little bit more drone heavy. He hasn't been harvesting a lot of gas. There's that hero Overlord going up. I do believe, yes, he did in fact see that additional barracks, and I can't emphasize how huge that is.
Yes.
Now Shuey's in a situation where he knows what he's going up against. He knows he needs to react. It looks like, I think he's actually getting a Spire somewhere in the background. Is that what that? No, actually another.
No,
is that another macro hatch?
No.
That I'm seeing? Or just spine crawlers here in the background?
Spine crawler.
But anyway, just tacking on the additional defenses that he's going to require to deal with this, and he's going to be in a nice position to deal with any sort of Marauder harass. He should have plenty of Zerglings to cope with this as well. Knows as long as he fights this off, he's going to be in an excellent position in the mid game.
Absolutely, but at the same time, there are a lot of Hellions on the field, and this can do some sick damage. Looks like the Hellions are going to come in, riding on their motorcycles, and here come the Zerglings, and ooh, the first batch of Zerglings definitely being roasted. Very easy. Here come all the drones, and looks like they're going to have to run away, but the Spine Claw is doing a really nice job. Looks like the Zerglings are going to try to trap in, but oh my goodness, 8 Zerglings just died really fast right there. And he's going to try to move that Spine Crawler, but there is not a lot going on for Shuey right now. He needs to be able to deal with this Hellion before they do too much damage.
I have to say, I'm surprised that Polar hasn't gotten more drone kills, and if I was Shuey, I might even think about pulling all the drones off my natural at this stage, and Hellion's actually getting whittled down. For the amount of Hellions that were out right there, I thought there was going to be more damage. Wow, incredible. And actually, Polar looks like he might be thinking about taking a natural. I see something idling there. Looks like it might be Marauder. Never mind, there's the huge Marauder force pulling out. Let's see some SCVs even come with it. There's all of the SCVs coming off the line.
He's expanding behind this.
And he's expanding behind this. What the heck?
It is interesting.
So he wants to try to do amazing economic damage and try to follow this up with just some mules to kind of clear things out. Unfortunately, Shuey does have the Roach Den down, but I feel like Shuey was a little bit slow on his decision to help defend this. He didn't really get a ton of Spine Crawlers out. He didn't really tech anywhere. He did produce some Zerglings, but the Zerglings not going to be all that great against those Hellions. And honestly, a lot of Marauders, and on top of that, SCVs. And SCVs, they can absorb a lot of damage.
You're right. Polar does want these SCVs. Oh, he's actually using them for repair, not as opposed to tanking. So this is actually going to be a super strong push. The Marauders will be able to take out the Spine Crawlers really fast, and it looks like at this point, we're going to pull up the resource counting station. It looks like Shuey is going to try to send some drones. He does have 3 queens, but only a couple roaches. And of course, the Marauders are a really good unit against that, and Shuey just losing so much at this point.
Very creative build. Auto repair to keep the Hellions alive and use them more or less as super meat shields. Oh, look at that pileup of drones. Oh. That is just Hellion fodder. Shuey just giving it away. Oh, wow. That is just like a little furnace. Oh, with kindling right there. The drones are just like wood, but roaches spawning. They might be able to fight this back. They do have that pound damage, but natural expansion has been wiped out. Ooh, Shuey down to 22 supply dropping. I have to say, beautiful play by Polar. I think he's won it. There's GG.
GG.
Polar takes it, stays in the winner bracket. Shuey going down to the losers bracket. Perhaps we see him back in the winners bracket again, but well played. Very interesting push. That's the first time I've seen it. Very creative, and I like it. Executed almost perfectly.
Of course, yeah, Hellion Marauder is a really good way to deal with Ling Roach, especially if Zerg is being a little bit too greedy. Very, very good punishing build. And of course, one that made the huge difference is those SCVs. I didn't expect them to do the auto repair. It was very, very clever. And overall, Polar definitely earned that win.
In the meantime, we are going to take a short break and turn off the stream for just half a second. We will be back very rapidly because we are going to, I assume, cast something out of the losers bracket.